Hello and welcome to the first of three short videos that we've put together to share a little bit more about the ReBuilders program, Routes to Regenerative Construction in the West Midlands. So this is a 6-month learning program that is being hosted in collaboration between Civic Square, Dark Matter Labs, and Material Cultures, and it's being hosted and supported by Faircroft College and Innovate UK. So the intention of the program is that we want ReBuilders to bring together different practitioners in construction from across the West Midlands who want to go beyond their work, just doing less harm and actually thinking about how construction can be a key component in regenerating and restoring our planet and building resilience in our homes, streets, and neighborhoods for the 21st century. So what does this actually mean to do less bad and move towards regenerating systems rather than just being sustainable or just being green? Well, conventionally, when we talk about green construction or green design, we usually talk about reducing negative impacts, whereas what we're really interested in on this program is going beyond sustainability, beyond doing less bad, and thinking about how can the way we interact with our built environment, how can the way we interact with materials and practices actually improve the conditions that we're living in, improve the conditions for both people and planet, and act as a regenerating influence to the living systems that we all depend on. And in terms of the background to this learning program, a lot of this work has been informed by a piece of research that we at Civic Square conducted alongside Dark Matter Labs called 3 Degree Neighborhood. And essentially, the kind of core learnings of this piece of work were that within this century, we're going to be moving towards radically different landscapes, both in terms of our material economies and in terms of our climatic conditions. So we're going to be looking at cities that are fundamentally different in terms of the sort of temperatures we're going to be used to. 3 degrees of warming globally means 5 degrees on land, which means 8 degrees in cities because of the urban heat island effect. And we also know that some high embodied carbon materials that the built environment depends on, like concrete, fired bricks, these types of things, will simply become untenable as we move into this climatic context. So what does this mean for construction then? It means that the typical high embodied carbon methods that we use to build and assemble our built environment are going to have to change either through planning and choice or through necessity in the future. So at the moment, we know that a typical new build represents about 800 kilograms of CO2 per square meter, whereas a low carbon home can often go down to 150. But even this still isn't quite as ambitious as we need to be. So throughout the program, we're going to be looking at not just the ways that people in construction, architecture, built environment practices can bring down the embodied carbon of our work and the consequent work of the supply chains that we depend on. But we're also going to be looking at how we can have a more regenerative influence on things like biodiversity, material landscapes, and the social conditions that our work relates to. So now I'll pass on to Kavita, who will talk a little bit more about the actual structure of the program.
Thanks, Charlie. So yeah, the ReBuilders program will consist of three major program strands. The first being that there will be a series of learning days, which will include both skills boot camps as well as classroom time to be able to understand the skills and why we want to be able to bring in different types of materials and understanding how this translates into our SMEs. This will be four learning days, and one of which will be a residential overnight stay. There's also a series of site visits by inspirational precedents all across the UK, of which will continue to show how we can work together in interdisciplinary ways to be able to create amazing ways of building and using our construction skills. The final strand of this program is that there is ongoing learning support throughout in the form of mentoring, and in the classroom days, there'll be ways that we can start thinking about how this knowledge that is shared throughout this program can be directly translated and continue to be practiced in your SMEs. The major learning themes across all of these visits and these classroom days will include a wider context for why we are sharing these skills and ways of working, including different types of materials. The materials specific to how we can start leaning into bio-based materials or reusing materials, and what a bioregion means and how we can start working within our local biomes. As well as this, there'll be a lot more themes around how we can start creating networks and working at a scale of a neighborhood, and how these scales and how these networks can enable us to have far more regenerative practices. We'll also be exploring things like the city scale and how donor economics and wider economic practices lean into how our regenerative construction methods and practices, and how SMEs can lean into shaping cities and places to be more sustainable, more regenerative, and safer and just for our future challenges. As well as this, we'll be discussing how we can start to create more momentum in our building practices, and how these are actually stepping stones into creating more benefits that complement each other in co-benefits. This will all be complemented with a hands-on building sessions throughout those classroom days as well. In the ways that we can support all of these things to happen simultaneously, we'll be providing learning logs so that all of the learnings across the SMEs can be documented really beautifully and shared with the rest of your peers in your organizations. We'll also be helping to create action plans so that the skills and practices that have been surfaced throughout this learning program can be directly implemented into your SMEs. We also have a mentorship engagement scheme in which there are amazing mentors that we've lined up who have a range of skills, knowledges, and expertises that are willing to share all of this knowledge with you so that your SMEs can start to flourish in different ways and unlock new possibilities.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kavitha. And so alongside the incredible building and making and getting hands-on with bio-based materials and the classroom days where you'll get to hear more about the research we described and that Charlie described at the beginning, you'll be able to deep dive into that research and think more about why we need to make such a large-scale transition towards more regenerative practice and away from the extractive practices that are creating so much harm. But one of the key features of this program is the chance to go to a range of really inspirational site visits. Those site visits are there to not just let you see the construction mechanisms or processes. You will meet contractors and learn more about the buildings and the construction processes, but you'll also get to hear from the people who built these projects, from the neighborhoods that they exist within, from the communities that use them, and meet a whole wide range of approaches to more regenerative construction and built environment practices. And so we're just going to talk you through a couple of these visits to whet your appetite. So one of the first visits will be a trip to Bristol to visit We Can Make, who are an incredible neighbourhood test space who are putting the building of community homes into the hands of the people who live there. They are nurturing skills, literacy, jobs, and they are using a range of different local practices that are globally relevant, from the microfactory that you'll get to visit in Norwest to seeing how they are unlocking small sites in the neighbourhood, and involving the people who are going to live in those homes in both the design and the build. They've got an incredible program from the forest to the front garden that is looking at the type of timber and looking at the type of materials that also go into the building of these homes. So We Can Make is one of the exciting visits that we'll take you on. Secondly, we'll be looking to go and visit Obele Initiative in Wood Green. Obele are a Black-led organisation that have been pioneering in the space of land justice, community infrastructure for Black people, and in food growing, and a range of incredible rooted systemic approaches to big challenges. Most recently, on their incredible site, they have designed and started to build 3 buildings. Material Cultures, one of the partners on the program, are actually one of the architects of this building. So what you can expect from going to visit Obele is hearing from some incredible founders who have built Obele, the ideas behind the buildings. You'll get to meet some of the contractors and architects and learn more about a building process that's live. It won't be quite finished yet, and you'll get to see some of this bio-based material approach in practice, and you may even get a chance to help finish off a part of the building. Next up, we'll be going to Jericho. Jericho are based in Birmingham. The Wood Shack is one of their incredible programs. They work with a wide range of people that are marginalized and excluded from jobs and other opportunities in society, and they bring them into work, supporting their confidence, their skills, their knowledge, as part of a site that looks to reuse materials that are natural, reclaim materials that would otherwise go to waste, and put them to work in a range of different ways. So a project and a visit like this is not quite going to see a building. It's actually starting to learn more about the supply chain, learn more about the materials that we use, learn more about those co-benefits that Gavitha talked about, when you can join up work around waste, around natural materials, around creating jobs and skills, and supporting the most marginalized in society to be at the heart of that transition. It's a beautiful site, and it's a great example of the role that everybody in the construction and built environment industry has to play in starting to rethink their practices. The James Cond Centre in Birmingham is one of the city's sustainable building teaching centres. It's part of UCB. They are doing really beautiful work in connecting students to future practices within the construction and built environment industry. We'll have a chance to see the opportunities they have there, and the space and skills that you can learn, and what kind of opportunities might be available for SMEs all across the West Midlands, looking to connect with students, looking to connect with future practice, and get access to these incredible skills that are coming through. The Enterprise Centre is a building that is already finished. It was designed by Archetype. It is in Norwich. And this is a chance to literally go and see, feel, breathe, smell what an incredible bio-based material building can look like. But it's not just about the building. We'll connect you to the process that the architects took. We'll look at what it meant for planning, what it means for fire regulations, what it means for the whole story of putting a building of this scale together. We'll learn more about the impact this building had on the local economy, and in the thatch industry, for example, who usually work in seasonal patterns, but through innovation in this building, were able to create panels that mean that that industry can now work all year round. So you'll be able to hear not just about a building and not just about the process of design and construction, but again, more about these co-benefits of what happens when we start to think of the incredible power a building can have to bring new possibilities to life, where you can touch, see, and feel them, and how we can have multiple co-benefits through jobs, through the economy, through innovation of straw panels, and much more. Finally, we'll also be going to Down to Earth in Swansea. This is a truly stunning site in Wales, where you will get to meet an organisation that has been around for nearly 20 years and is doing beautiful work in connecting, again, those most marginalized from many opportunities in society, from learning disabilities to people who have been excluded from school or incarcerated, coming into jobs, to think about regenerative and sustainable construction. Down to Earth have built a range of incredible buildings and homes, and they have a centre that you will be able to find more about its construction, how it was made, how the local community and so many young people have been and continue to be involved, as well as learn much more about their research on the deep health impacts and physical and mental health impacts that working with natural materials can have. And they have an incredible research arm as well. And so a visit like this, again, will look at the intersection between a physical building, the people involved in it, research, materials, and we'll get to see how many more parts of the built environment industry can reimagine itself to work together to build more in this fashion. The Portland Inn project, again, is another exciting project that's here in the West Midlands in Stoke-on-Trent. This is an amazing community at the street scale that are working to reimagine their street through arts, creativity, and coming together. If you look them up, you'll see they've just had an incredible summer program where they have involved their community in so many layers of the build and construction process, imagining new materials for the tiles in the building, building literacy about how the process is going. And they work with an amazing construction company who are telling the story, who are looking at all the points within the build where they can involve more people, where they can be more open, where they can open doors to the process and help to inspire a completely different way of building. So this project, when we go to it, will also be live in the middle of its construction process. You'll be able to meet the community, you'll meet the people behind the project, you'll meet the construction company, and you'll get to see this old pub being turned into an incredible community centre with pioneering contractors and a really connected and inspired community behind it. So I'm going to hand over back to Kavitha to tell you a little bit about remind you all about the key practical information, and hopefully what we've managed to do is persuade you to apply. So a bit more about how you can apply to the programme.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, what a wonderful, I'm excited for this program now after hearing all about that. I hope you guys are too. So yeah, just to recap some practical info, the dates of this program are running from the 8th of October, and the 8th and 9th is the very first session where we'll have that residential, all the way through to the end of March, where we'll be finishing again at Fircroft College. So we're looking at 9 full in-person working days, and that is a commitment that we're hoping for from you. This will be at different locations, both at Fircroft College, at our site at Civic Square in Birmingham, as well as some of these inspirational sites that we've just mentioned across the UK. As a result, there will be some overnight stays required and some travel, but bearing in mind that this program is for people based in the West Midlands, we're hoping that that's all fairly manageable, and that we can help coordinate some of those things for you. The program is fully funded. It's an Innovate UK funded program, and so there is no cost to any of the participants and any of the SMEs that will be joining us. And connected to this, we are hoping that there will be pod formations that can enable more SMEs to be able to join. The reason that we did this was that we always are aware that not everybody can make this commitment throughout the 6 months time period that this program will run. So as a group of 3 people from any SME, any organization, we're hoping that this will be an opportunity for you to share that knowledge back into your organizations, for different people to be able to commit to the things that resonate the most with their areas of work, depending on the visit or the classroom day. Different types of people from the organization can come, but we are hoping that this pod will be responsible for each learning log and for helping to keep track of that organizational analysis that we're bringing into this, which we will be able to support throughout as well. And that can be self-organized within the SMEs yourselves as to what this rotation looks like. And just to go over final details, the application deadline is the 19th of September. So please do apply. We'll keep the link associated with this recording as well, so you'll be able to find that in the description below. And so, yeah, really hope to see you, see your applications coming through.